Hey guys, Brian Taylor here with Dreamline Realty, coming to you today to talk about two disclosures that buyers have to sign off on when they make a purchase on a home in North Carolina. One is called a residential property disclosure, and one is called a mineral oil and gas disclosure. And your agent may ask you to sign these at the time that you make an offer on a house, but what in the world are these and why are they needed? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian Taylor with Dreamline Realty here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And today we're talking about residential property disclosures and mineral oil and gas disclosures. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click down there in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will alert you to new videos that we release every week. And also don't forget to click on that bell as well. So let's talk about these two disclosures and what are they? So anytime a property is sold in North Carolina, a residential property disclosure is needed, with the exception of two things. If the property is new construction or the property is being conveyed as a lease with the option to purchase, then this is not required. But in other situations, it is. So the residential property disclosure is actually a 4-page disclosure, and I'm going to put these down below in the video description so you can take a look at these. And I want to go through these with you so if you make an offer on a home, you are aware of what they are and why they are needed. So North Carolina wants the buyers to know up front if there's any known defects with the property before they make an offer on a home. So the listing agent that is listing that house will have the seller complete these documents. And basically what this is, it's a 4-page question and answer session for the seller, right? So it asks a bunch of questions about the property, things as simple as when was the house built, what year is the HVAC and furnace? Are there any known issues with water issues, pest infestation? Are there any issues known with odors or smells, or is there any kind of airports or anything like that, or train tracks near the property that could be an issue? It goes down into even deeper things. Is the property on a septic? Is it city water, city sewer? There's a whole list here, right? It's 4 pages. So the seller has the option to choose yes, no, or no representation. So if the seller checks no for everything and your agent gives these to review, number one, that does not mean that we do not have to get a home inspection done, right? This does not trump a home inspection. This is just generally saying that the seller is saying there are no defects known to my property. If there are yes marks checked that there is an issue, the seller has to disclose in this document what those issues were to cause them to check off the yes checkbox. Now, there's also a checkbox for no representation. And if we see that checked, that doesn't mean there's an issue. That means that the seller is saying, I don't have any idea if there's an issue. So some of these questions might be like, what type of piping is inside the property? Is it PVC? Is it plastic? Is it copper? The seller may not know, so they would just check no representation. But as a protection for the buyer, that is the purpose for this form. And on page 4 of this form, it talks about issues pertaining to the HOA, right? So what are the HOA fees? Are they paid monthly, annually, twice a year? And who's the HOA? And what does the HOA cover in the neighborhood? Do they cover the pool and the playgrounds? Do they cover the sidewalks? Do they cover the cable for some homeowners? Because sometimes we do see that. And then those things are listed about what the HOA covers. So again, this is just a disclosure that the buyer will have to sign off on when they make an offer on the property. Or if they do make an offer on the property, they have to get these documents within 3 days of making that offer, or the buyer can pull the offer because these were not disclosed to them at that time. The second one is the mineral oil and gas disclosure, and this is just a 1-page document. So basically this one is saying, does the seller have any knowledge or intentions about severing the mineral oil and gas rights from the property? So the very first question is, mineral rights and oil rights have been severed from the property by a previous owner. Well, more than likely the seller is going to click no representation, because unless they have records of every time this property has been sold in the past, they're not going to have any idea if a previous owner severed the mineral oil and gas rights. So the second question is, has the seller already severed the mineral oil and gas rights to the property? That means the current seller. So that is important to say, has that ever happened? So that'll be a yes or no. Now, I will stop here and say I've been selling real estate for 18 years now, since 2003. I have never ran into a situation where the seller has decided to sever the mineral oil and gas rights from the property, and I've never ran into a situation where they have intended to after closing. So typically these check marks are always going to be no. If there's ever one that is checked yes, then that would be the very first time that I will have run into this, and that would be a really strange thing. So if the seller did check yes that they were going to sever the mineral oil and gas rights from the property, and you as the buyer said, okay, that's awesome, and you went ahead and closed, that means that that seller can come into your property at any given time, in any time at all, forever, and drill a big old hole in your front yard and start sucking out all the mineral oil and gas from the property, and you can't do anything about it. So that is the reason for these disclosures. So again, I put a link in the description below. You want to check these out. They're there for you to download and ask your agent any questions you have about these, but they will be there for you to complete by the time you make an offer. And I hope this video was helpful to you. And if you want to learn about the entire home buying process, I encourage you to download a copy of my free book called Buying Your Dream Home, where I break everything down from start to finish. And that link is in the description below. And if you want to find out about the #1 problem that we see all the time when we have home inspections, check out this video where we talk about issues with crawl spaces. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Make it a great day.